Hey folks, it's John with KGTropicals.com. Welcome to episode 9 of our video series, KG Q&A. We're answering your questions that you send in to that email address right there. First question today comes from Hector Martinez. My question is, I have bought a fish tank, the Pass from Craigslist, and he didn't tell me it was a saltwater, and I put fresh water in it. I wanted to know how to convert it to freshwater. Your videos are awesome. Keep up the good work. I get the gist of your question. It was a little difficult to read, but I don't know. And I don't know because I don't know what you have. You know, there's a lot of equipment that can be used for both. So just because the tank had salt water in it doesn't mean that you have to do anything different. Just put fresh water in it. I mean, but do you have to clean it a certain way? Do you have to throw away all the equipment and use new stuff? No, not necessarily. Salt water is not going to hurt anything. I mean, you know, if you take the salt water out, put fresh water in, you should be fine. But there's a lot of things, protein skimmers and stuff like that in saltwater tanks that you don't necessarily need to use for freshwater. So the equipment might be different. I don't know what you have. I apologize. I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but I don't know exactly what it is that you have right now. So it's kind of a hard question to answer. But if they used equipment that can be used for both fresh and salt water, just use it. I mean, it's not really anything that you have to go to great lengths to modify or anything like that to use it for freshwater. You should be fine. But again, you know, I don't know what you have. So if you have equipment that can be used for both, then go ahead, have at it. Purple Rain, the Prince movie from the 80s. Hey John, this is a great idea to start the Q&A and you really got through some info on your last video. That was a while ago, but yeah. My question is, can you give me an overview on German blue rams? I already breed and sell Africans, but just recently bought a group of 8 GBRs. What triggers their spawning? What kinds of foods? Temperature? You mentioned it in the last video, they are like discus. Does this go for breeding also? I would love to purchase some of your adult males if you have any. I don't, sorry. They are like discus in that they like the same water parameters. A very soft water, very low pH. Just like really all of your South and Central American cichlids. They like, you know, your Amazonian fish, they like a soft water with a low pH. So that's, you know, your water parameters, that's what they're gonna like. They don't require a huge tank, which is really cool. You can have them in a 10-gallon tank if you want, because they only get about that big. So they're really cool to have, and you can have them in small tanks. Breeding them, they do not breed like discus. The only similarity is that you put a group of them together like you did. 2 of them will pair off, but they are substrate egg layers. They're not vertical egg layers like discus are. So they do have that difference in them. What triggers spawning is the same thing that triggers spawning in any fish. Good clean water. If they're not doing anything, if you've noticed that 2 have paired off, but they're just not producing, you can trigger spawning by doing a large water change, just like with any fish. Raising your temperature a little bit can definitely help to trigger spawning. But you can't trigger them to pair off. I don't know if that's what you were asking. If you put 8 of them together, you let nature take its course, and you see if 2 of them are going to pair off, and if they do, you can separate them, which would be a good thing, into their own tank. You can breed these fish in a 10-gallon tank, dude. So you don't have to have a big one. You can put them in a 10-gallon tank, Purple Rain, to breed your GBRs. They're a lot of fun. They're absolutely adorable. You can have them on a little tank on your nightstand. I mean, I'm a sucker for German blue rams. I love them. I even love Bolivian rams. A lot of people aren't crazy about those, but I really like them. Sammy from Baghdad, Iraq. How about that? Hey John, how you doing, man? I'm great, thank you. Great series, greatly admire your work. Thank you, sir. What about the pH for African cichlids and how to increase it in a normal way? What's your opinion about it? I like to do things in the tank so that you do not have to adjust the pH or buffer the pH when you're doing water changes. This is why I used all the stuff that I did in the 240. Using products that are meant to naturally buffer the pH, like the African Cichlid mix from Carob Seed. This is a crushed aragonite, which is we all know is something that will definitely harden your water and increase the pH. That's the way I like to do it. And there's also some rocks that you can use. You can use aragonite rocks. It sounds like something that would come from the moon, but it's not. Aragonite works really well. I don't know what's available to you in Iraq, sir, but that's what I like to do. I like to put stuff in there that is going to help to keep the pH where it needs to be consistently all the time. pH is always going to fluctuate a little bit. You can't stop that from happening, but it's going to keep it at those higher levels like your fish like if you put something in there that's going to keep it that way. Same thing for softening the water. Things like driftwood and stuff like that will help to keep the pH down. So that's my advice. If you want to do it in a natural way, use things like rocks. Lace rock is one of them. Lava rock, aragonite. Use your substrate that is meant specifically to buffer pH, and you will be there, and it will do you very well and will require less work every time you do a water change. You're not throwing a bunch of stuff in the tank when you fill your tank back up. All right, Luis Nacarado. Nice. Ever so often when I feed my peacocks and haps, I notice one is off to the side, not swimming much and not eating. Every time this happens, the fish dies on me eventually. Now when I notice this, I take the fish out and put it in a hospital tank where I treat with Epsom salt and parasites. I'm assuming you mean a parasite medication. It's 50-50 that I save them this way, but if I leave them alone, they never survive. My question is, what do you think could be causing this? It seems to be more peacocks and haps and not imbunas. I don't know. And I mean, I'm a blunt person. That's the way I am. I don't know what's causing it because I don't know what's going on in your tank. I don't know what you're feeding them. There's so many things involved that it makes it impossible for me to answer. But of course I will give you some guidance. Hopefully it will help. It could have to do with diet. I mean, that's the first thing that comes to my gut here is diet, because the first thing you said, your imbunas are fine and your peacocks and haps aren't. You might be feeding a food that's more geared specifically towards imbunas. Now I know that contradicts what I said in my past videos when I said feed them all the same thing, but I don't know what this guy's feeding his fish, so it's hard for me to tell. But it sounds like diet might be one of the things. Your imbunas are all fine, so they're getting what they need, but your peacocks and haps are not. Peacocks and haps are carnivores. They need meat in their diet. And you might be giving a food that doesn't have any, and they're just not getting what they need. It could be parasites that's only affecting one fish. It could be an intestinal disease. There's a million things that it could be. What I am telling you, though, you're doing the right thing. I mean, you're pulling the fish out. You're isolating them in a hospital tank. I'm assuming you're keeping the water clean, keeping the temperature up. You're treating it with Epsom salt. I mean, it wouldn't be my first choice, Epsom salt. Depending on, I mean, like bloat, Epsom salt is great, but I don't just throw Epsom salt into a hospital tank unless it's a disease that I know calls for that. And you're treating for parasites. One of my favorite products out there, fish medications, is the API General Cure. It's powder form, comes in the little packets. That stuff works wonders. And a lot of times when we can't really identify what's going on with a fish, we'll use that, and a lot of times it'll help. But the problem, I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on in your tank, so it's hard for me to give you specific guidance on what you're experiencing, but I would check diet first and keep doing what you're doing. Epsom salt, don't know if I'd keep doing that. Maybe try the General Cure and see what happens with that. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that it's a general cure. It helps with a whole bunch of different stuff. We use it religiously when we need to. Jonathan Cartwright. John, every few years there is a fish that makes the hot list that everybody wants. This is so true. Once Otter Point jakes were king. Frontosas were huge. German Reds and Lawandas are/were all the craze. As we move into the new year, we're already here, Any predictions? P.S. I was the one who suggested KGQ&A. Love it. I actually live in Baltimore and will hopefully pay your store a visit in the spring next year. Congratulations on the steady progress. First of all, shame on you, Jonathan. You live in Baltimore. We've been here a year and you haven't been here yet. Shame on you, my friend. You should have been here by now. But that's a great question, and I'd love to be right on this because I do have an opinion on this. I do think there are some fish that are going to kind of start to gain in popularity. I think it's going to be something that you wouldn't expect. I'm looking at something like Buconodos, Champsochromis. I know I'm biased. I mean, if you watch my video where I gave you my top 5, those are my top 2. But I think that what I'm starting to see as a trend is people that are looking for fish that have kind of a different shape to them. Most of your peacocks and haps might vary in size, but a lot of them have the same general shape to them, which is a beautiful shape. But it seems to me like people are coming in and they want something that kind of stands out, something that's different. Blue dolphins are another one that's one of the main reasons why they're so popular, is because first of all, they're gorgeous, they have beautiful color, they look like dolphins, and they get big. So that is something. And they're not the same shape as every other fish. Am I making sense here? I feel like fish that just look a little off compared to the rest of them, I feel like that is a trend that's actually starting now to really gain in popularity. Things like your Nimbochromis and your Protomalus and Alanicara, those are going to be popular. They're always going to be popular. But I feel like it's going to be something that's different. It's just me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's my bias is pushing these fish on people. I don't know. But I've seen a lot of people buying these. You'd be shocked at how many times I have shipped 1 4-inch Buconodo to customers. 1, and that's it. Nothing else in the box but 1 Buconodo. I mean, I guess a lot of that is the fact that I really push them, but maybe that's my ego talking. I don't know. But I feel like it's going to be those fish that are different. They don't look like the rest of the fish. And like I said before, all the other ones, they're going to stay popular because they're gorgeous. They're always going to be around. You know, you said German Reds and Lawandas were all the craze. I think Lawandas are probably the one now. Lawandas and Taiwan Reefs, they're always the first to go when we get them in here. So they're probably the cream of the crop right now, but as we go on in 2014, I think that it's going to turn to fish that have a different shape. That's just me. We'll see. Let's watch this video January 1st, 2015, and see if I was right. So this episode was a lot of fun. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope everybody is having a wonderful new year. I am recording this on New Year's Day. I don't know when I'm going to upload it, but I hope everybody's enjoying 2014 so far. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.